Have you been wondering which iPad to get or which one to upgrade to? Nowadays, it seems like there are a ton of options, and I must admit, it can kind of be confusing, especially for Apple's casual consumers who don't necessarily follow all of their events, keynotes, and newest releases. In other words, the non-tech nerds. But the good thing is, Apple has done a great job at creating an iPad for just about everyone. And no worries, it's my job to lay down all the facts so you can make a more well-informed decision. With so many options, it's tough to truly know what's going on with each. Some offer bright and colorful colors. Others have drastically larger displays, and internally, each iPad differs in terms of chipset and raw horsepower. With Christmas and the holidays right around the corner, and with a new semester for students starting up early in January of 2023, now is the perfect time to brush up on all the facts so you don't have buyer's remorse and pick up the wrong iPad. But before we begin, I'd really appreciate if you're new here to click the subscribe button, as my goal is to hit 60,000 subscribers before 2022 ends. And between you and me, we're only about 500 plus subscribers away. So I know it's very doable. And don't forget, I've released my infamous battery drain test on the entire current iPad line. So if you're interested in battery life of all the available iPads, I highly encourage you to click the card at the top right, or if you want to watch it after this video, I'll also include the battery drain link in the video description below. And one last thing, if by the end of this video you're still unsure on which model or configuration to get, stick around until the end for my social media handles so you can tweet at me or DM me for additional assistance. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's begin by rolling that intro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, since I don't want this video to run on for 40 minutes plus, I did first just want to mention that I have entire dedicated unboxing and review videos for every single iPad featured. All links will be in the video description down below. So in an effort to not sound like a broken record and reiterate everything in my full dedicated reviews, I will instead recap all of them real quick and treat this video for what it is. A buying guide. I'll include superlatives, if you will, such as best for students, best value, and stuff like that. Thus, if you're already pretty well versed with all of our options, I've included timestamps in the video for your convenience. Alright, so here we go. Let's go over all of our 6 available options, because technically there's 4 distinct models, but in reality it's really 6 options that we have. All can be configured to bump up internal storage, and all can be purchased as a cellular model in case you need to go mobile mode and work on your iPad on the go. Really, the whole cellular connectivity debate is truly reliant on the user. Do you anticipate using cellular coverage on your iPad when you're away from Wi-Fi? If not, then you have no need to pay for that upgrade. If you do feel like you'll need to connect to the internet when not having a Wi-Fi point, then you might want to invest in the cellular connectivity models. So to begin, let's start off with the iPad with the smallest display, which that accolade goes to the iPad mini. It sports an 8.3 fully laminated liquid retina display with True Tone and starts at a starting price of $499 here in the States. Should you opt for cellular connectivity, then the base model will set you back an additional $150. And speaking about base storage, you'll get 64 gigabytes for the base, $499 model, but you can quadruple your storage for an additional $150 as well. And the mini comes in 4 bouncy and fun colors, including space gray, starlight, pink, and purple. Last important tidbit about the mini is that it features the A15 Bionic chip, which is pretty capable for mostly everything you throw at it, but is inferior to the M1 and M2 chips in terms of raw performance horsepower. So that's the mini, a palmable mini-size iPad that packs a mighty punch and has decent camera hardware that rounds it out as a great contender for you to choose from. But is it the right one for you? Up next is the iPad 9th generation, which is our least expensive model, but of course with that, you can expect those flagship features to not be present, seeing as Apple's main goal with this one was to bring those costs as low as possible to bring down that price point. It starts at $329 for a base 64 gigabyte Wi-Fi model, or $299 for students, which is a really good deal, but you can also opt for a 64 gigabyte Wi-Fi plus cellular model, which starts at $459. One very noticeable and obvious observation is that it is the only iPad in Apple's current lineup to still feature a physical home button and has these pretty massive bezels surrounding the display, which, speaking of, is a 10.2-inch liquid retina display and is not fully laminated, which means there is a noticeable air gap between the glass and the display. it's not a major issue, but when drawing on the Apple Pencil 1st Gen, I don't know, it just feels like you're not actually drawing on the glass because of that small gap. It's a small nitpick, but it is important to bring up. Color-wise, you only have two options, which is silver and space gray, which is kind of lame, and it is important to note that the front bezels will be black regardless of which color you choose. Another major drawback is that its chipset is slowly becoming more and more outdated as time passes, sporting the A13 chip, which just for reference is the same chipset the iPhone 11 line featured. Moving right along, and within the same family line is the iPad 10th generation, which is a newly redesigned successor to the budget 9th gen iPad that we just discussed, and are being sold in tandem with each other. The 10th gen iPad more closely resembles the design language of the iPad Air 5th gen, removing the home button and thinning out those bezels. It sports a larger 10.9-inch Liquid Retina display, a slightly improved chipset versus the 9th gen being the A14 chip, and interestingly, is the only iPad within the lineup to feature its front-facing camera sideways. By that I mean it's not on the top and instead is positioned on the right-hand side of the device, being a landscape 12-megapixel ultra-wide sensor. The 10th gen iPad also comes in exciting color options including silver, pink, blue, and yellow, and comes with an increased price tag starting at $449 for 64 gigs of storage and starts at $599 for a Wi-Fi plus cellular base model. Next up is the iPad Air 5th gen, and there are a ton of similarities with this one and the previous 10th gen iPad we just went over. So I think highlighting some similarities and differences would prove useful. First off, the iPad Air 5th gen is pricier, starting at $599 for the base Wi-Fi model and starts at $749 for the cellular one. This is despite the fact that the Air has the same starting storage as the 10th gen iPad with 64 gigs, but can be upgraded to 256 gigs for an additional $150. So why the increase in price then? What are the differences? Well, the main difference is the power under the hood, with the Air sporting the extremely speedy M1 chip, which proves snappier and is more fluid, seeing as how this is Apple's very own silicon and has never given me any issues, and quite frankly, on the Air is a bit of overkill anyway. It first debuted on some of the MacBooks such as the MacBook Air, but it does future-proof the Air better than the A-series chips, which are still found on the mini, 9th gen, and 10th gen iPads. The iPad Air is the thinnest overall of all the iPads, so if portability is of concern, then this may be an important factor to consider, being only 6.1 millimeters thin versus 7 millimeters on the 10th gen iPad. Our display is also a bit improved, being fully laminated, which makes the display seem more immersive and features an anti-reflective coating that the 10th gen does not, which does help with outdoors visibility. The iPad Air 5th gen does feature Apple Pencil 2 support and doesn't have you purchase a silly adapter to use the pencil like you have to do with the iPad 10th gen, which just like the 9th gen only offers Apple Pencil 1 support. And finally, we have the last type of iPad model that is separated into two variants. I'm talking about the iPad Pro line, the absolute most powerful tablets currently available in the market. Featuring the mighty M2 chip, these two iPads are the epitome of overkill, seeing as how about 95 to 99% of people, roughly, will never utilize the M2's true potential. So you have two options here, the 11-inch iPad Pro, which starts at $799 and features a gorgeous 11-inch Liquid Retina display that features Pro Motion technology, which is that buttery smooth refresh rate of up to 120 Hz that makes navigating the OS feel so bouncy and so fluid. Additionally, sure, you're paying a lot more money, but thankfully our starting storage starts at 128 gigs, which is double of what's found on the baseline iPad Air. And best yet, if you got them deep pockets, you can upgrade your 11-inch Pro to a whopping 2 terabytes, which is pretty crazy on a tablet. And also, upgrading to a cellular model also comes with a Pro price tag, seeing as how that upgrade on the Pros now sets you back $200 versus the $150 cellular upgrade for some of the cheaper models. And then you have the Mac Daddy iPad, the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, which is pretty much identical to the 11-inch, all but for a few key details. The pricing, of course, since the largest screen iPad starts at $10.99, and just like the 11-inch, can be configured up to a 2TB storage option. But the key main difference between the larger 12.9-inch and 11-inch is that the 12.9-inch model features a very impressive and immersive Liquid Retina XDR display, which is the same display technology of Apple's Pro XDR display, having the capability to produce some gorgeous colors that offer insane contrast, and your max brightness gets elevated to 1000 nits with regular use and up to 1600 nits of peak brightness while consuming HDR content. My camera could never do this iPad justice, and its display has to be seen in person to be truly appreciated. Not to mention adding in ProMotion to the mix, and you got the perfect recipe for a standout display that is hands down the best way to consume content on an iPad. By the way, both iPad Pro models come in your choice of just two colors, space gray and silver. I don't know why Apple thinks Pro users don't like bouncy colors since we're only stuck with two options, but whatever. Okay, so now that we've gone over a brief overview of each, and now that you familiarize yourself with all 6 options, let's go over who I think each iPad is for, starting in reverse order with the Pro models. And look, first off, I gotta tell you all, please don't make the mistake of thinking that just because the Pro moniker is slapped onto these iPads means that you have to get these. Trust me, the M2 chip is extreme overkill for most people, and that is a big understatement. And unless you photo edit, video edit, try to work with 3D models, or developing an app on an iPad, it's extremely unlikely you'll ever need all that raw horsepower. The iPad Pros do offer the most flagship features though, and are the iPads to go with if you require the largest displays possible on an iPad. The good thing about the 11-inch Pro is that it has a similar form factor to the Air and 10th Gen iPad, but it slims down those bezels to offer a slightly bigger screen and comes with ProMotion, which once you hop on a device with a 120Hz refresh rate, you'll never, trust me, never want to go back to standard display with a 60Hz refresh rate. The 11-inch Pro is the best for power in a relatively small and thin package. However, if you want the biggest and brightest display, the iPad 12.9-inch is the route to take. This is the ultimate iPad power package for creative pros, and with the main differentiator being the XDR technology, you'll be blown away at just how bright the display gets and just how vivid colors appear on it. The XDR is backlit by a huge array of mini LEDs, offering subtle localized dimming across the entire panel, plus a 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio. This is all impressive, but also means it has a few compromises. The 12.9-inch is far less portable than the rest of the iPads, and the pricing on these really starts to climb up if you upgrade your storage and opt for a cellular model, with the highest configuration setting you back $2,400. Like at that point, why not get a MacBook? Okay, now for the iPad Air 5th Gen. Who is this iPad for? I think this is the best for power in its class with a semi-affordable package. It's like the 11-inch Pro minus a few features that truthfully, some people can do without. It still sports the extremely impressive M1 chip, so this thing will power through just about everything you throw at it. The M1 pushes the iPad Air far ahead of the iPad mini and standard iPads with their A-series chips. And also, it should be noted, this iPad Air, like the 10th Gen and mini, offer biometric security and is handled by a fingerprint sensor located on the sleep-wake switch, whereas the Pro models feature Face ID. So if you happen to prefer fingerprint unlock versus Face ID, then I guess that's just an extra incentive to pick up the Air. Honestly, for most people, I'd say the majority of consumers will be extremely happy with the Air over the 11-inch Pro, and you'll be happy to save some money while still securing a fantastic tablet that will last you for many, many years to come. The 10th Gen iPad initially for me was sort of an enigma. I didn't quite feel like it needed to exist, but after having some time with it, I've changed my mind, and I'm a big fan of the 10th Gen, except for one crucial point, and that is Apple Pencil 1st Gen support. First off, it's idiotic the way you have to pair or charge your Apple Pencil on this device. To begin, it does offer USB-C support and does not feature a Lightning port, so you have to buy this stupid $9 USB-C to Lightning adapter to even begin using an Apple Pencil on it. They should have either left the Lightning port or offered Apple Pencil 2 support on the side like all the others. But I understand why they didn't do this, and that has to do with the landscape camera, so some compromises had to be made. Still though, aside from this nuance, I still think it's the best value iPad for the money, and here's why. It's versatile, comes in a broad selection of bright and energetic colors, has decent internal specs that are still fast and snappy heading into 2023, a slightly larger display versus the 9th gen, and the pricing is relatively within reach of most consumers. Not to mention the removal of the home button with the slight redesign has the iPad 10th gen look a little more modern looking. Also, the 10th gen is capable of 5G connectivity, which if you're looking for a cellular model, this is a step above the 9th gen iPad with the home button, as that one only offers 4G speeds. So there's a lot of trade-offs here with a lot of pros and few cons, but overall, I think the majority of consumers will be more than happy with one of these bad boys. Then there's the budget iPad. The 10th gen iPad's older and now inferior, younger, or older? Brother. I'm not sure, but it certainly offers even more trade-offs in return for a reduced price tag. Being the cheapest model available, it still offers plenty of versatility. Just do be warned, the A13 should handle what's on the App Store for now. But in about 2 or 3 years, the then archaic A13 chip will start to show its age in a dramatic fashion. You can be sure of that. The iPad 10th gen has a good screen size for gaming and watching movies while remaining slim, lightweight, and pretty portable. And while I think still featuring a home button is a downgrade, there are some folks who detest change and are very much used to the physical home button versus the gesture-based design of the other iPads. For this reason, this is the best tablet for teenagers and for non-tech nerds. Basically, someone who isn't too concerned with how powerful their tablet is and just wants a smooth and pleasant user experience using an iPad. If you can get over the aged design, home button, and are on a budget, this is the one to grab without a doubt. And finally, the iPad mini, which is my second favorite iPad right now behind the 12.9 inch, and that's because I just love the portability and palmability of the iPad mini. This is also my best recommendation for parents who have young children and also for students. It's the perfect size to slap on a durable third-party case and offers decent performance for the price. And what I absolutely love about the Mini is its note-taking capabilities. It does offer Apple Pencil 2 support, so you don't need a stinking adapter and you simply have to magnetically attach it to the right side and it pairs almost instantly. It's the perfect size to quickly pop out of a bag or a purse and go straight into note-taking mode. The display is also a couple inches larger than your typical iPhone display, so it makes gaming on the go feel more immersive when compared to gaming on an iPhone. However, the small screen may not be all that great for those who get eye strain or who like immersive films and gaming on the larger size tablets. Overall, the Mini is priced higher than the standard iPad line, and outside of the US, prices have gone up significantly since its initial launch. But overall, this tablet is best for the portability conscious, gamers on the go, ebook enthusiasts, and kids and students. So there you have it, guys. This has been my official buying guide for the entire iPad line as of late 2022 going into early 2023. If you found this video useful or helpful or entertaining, don't forget to drop a like as it helps my channel out a ton. And if you're still having trouble on which configuration to pick up, I'm happy to announce that my DMs are officially open for further help. Simply shoot me a DM on any of my socials or tweet out at me and I'd love to offer further assistance. Stay tuned for even more tech content that I'll be releasing real soon, including my first ever Apple Watch battery drain test and a surprise retro review. So with that, I'm clocking out for now, but I cannot wait to catch you all in my next video.